I want to take part in Represent because I think it's important to be exposed and educated.
To learn more about the Black history that's not being told.
I've never seen an opportunity like this before where it's looking at the untold history.
There's definitely a lot that I wasn't taught about representation of different people throughout history in school.
Black history doesn't start at slavery.
It puts a different perspective on Black history and how it's being introduced to young people, and I think that's really important for me.
I think this week what's going to happen is we'll probably look around the museum.
When we were doing the tour of the museum, I was like to the man, like, and why, and why, and why? Trying to delve deeper into things.
I think that's a strength in itself, to be able to ask questions and get more answers.
I think during the week, we'll have a series of talks and discussions.
Kind of just hearing other people's opinions and bouncing off ideas and learning new things.
Maybe some structured presentations.
Hopefully, like, in some areas my opinions will change on certain things.
I'm expecting to find out a lot more. A whole new perspective of different things. Everything around me does have a story behind it, whether it's just some building that I walk past or a piece of art.
Another perspective on history that I hadn't seen before.
A bit more understanding of the history of Leeds, the people that built the city and made it to where it is now.
I think one part of the week that made me curious.
A picture of 3 people. We had the owner and his son, and then we had a black man whose name was Derek, but that's all we know.
And it was only quite recently that he was denoted as a worker here because one of the family's daughters, I believe, was the one who contributed the photo of Derek. I just found it shocking.
There's a lot of Black people who are involved in the industries, even though they're not really shown.
Immigration made the country is where it is now, like schools and banks and stuff like that.
And I feel like it'd be interesting to go back and research how many of those people actually exist in different parts of the country as well.
How most of the riches in Britain and like the banks, the education system, they're all here are as wealthy as it is now because of the gaining from the slave trade.
Learning about the exploitation and Leeds' involvement with like the companies such as Hudson's and stuff. The diamond like mining and the gold mining and how they were treated and why nothing was kind of done about it and why it's something that's not discussed today even in our local area, even though we had a direct involvement.
I feel like what really stood out for me was like the trauma aspect. We can pass things on through generations, through our DNA.
Part of it that really made me curious to find out more was finding out about Empire Day. I didn't realise it even existed. It made me understand so much more why racism has continued for so long. Really made me realise why there's such a disparity between what we class as racism and what they do, and how we, well, generally people my age, don't really celebrate the empire, whereas older generations are very patriotic.
The Stately Homes project, it's a live project that's happening right now.
A part of the week that made me curious to find out more, I think it was talking to Pauline Mayers, and she was talking about her research methods of like looking into archives and going to museums and libraries to use their like free available resources.
I can't even remember what we've done this whole week. No, I mean, there's so much, but mine's
I wasn't even interested in museums.
Definitely changed my perspectives on race relations and also workers' rights in industrial mills.
Everybody carries unconscious bias, and how it's important to do your best to try and like stop that stigma from like prejudgments or making prejudice against other people.
I've learned a lot. The fact that each artifact has its own story, has a reason for why it's literally here.
There's so many more untold stories that definitely needs to be discovered.
The life of the curators and how they gather information and how they're looking to improve the way they represent people.
If they don't change and become more inclusive and more up to date, there's a risk that we'll lose them because young people aren't as interested in so much. They're not getting as much attention.
There's a need
for different representations and different people with different experiences.
And it's really important these spaces, we don't lose these spaces because they're public spaces, they're free. And by losing them, then people are getting information maybe just from the internet, and that isn't monitored at all. And it's the role of these sort of sites to tell the narratives that haven't been told yet and to inform, because at the end of the day, this is where children are brought to learn. And if they're telling the correct narratives, that will change future generations. I think this project has such a big potential. The mixing of ages at such an integral point in people's lives.
It allowed me to think bigger, not just very local aspects, but maybe even nationally.
I think this project has advanced me by getting me talking and thinking about my opinions and engaging with other people in a creative way.
I think this project has kind of inspired me to look back on my own identity and my own history.
If I want to make change, I need to be brave enough to believe that I can be that change.
And it was just really thrilling and a really enjoyable experience for me.
I would like to see this project develop in the future with potentially one of our plans and ideas that we've created to actually go ahead and see it happen. That would definitely be exciting to see.
As a young person, my voice has value and my voice has a meaning, and that I can use my voice to shout on the rooftops and say, represent me and represent us.